Over the last decade, America has made great strides in discussing mental health and also destigmatizing it. And now mental health is not only at the forefront for adult health care, but for our kids too. So when a new report from the American Academy of Pediatrics came out urging mental and behavioral health screenings for children and teens, we wanted to learn more. To help us do that is Lindsay Jeffries. She is the Director of Behavioral Health at Lutheran Family and Children's Services for this important My Mom Club segment sponsored by Premier U. Lindsay, it's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, what are these new recommendations?
So the American Academy of Pediatrics has come out urging parents to have their children screened annually for the mental health concerns. This is a huge shift because essentially what they're saying is that a child's mental health is just as important as their physical health and should be evaluated regularly.
So the first step is that screening. What happens during that initial screening, and then what happens after it too?
Yeah, so that initial screening with the pediatrician typically consists of a questionnaire. And that questionnaire is looking for mental health concerns that might be going on with the child. After that, if the pediatrician indicates that there might be some concerns that need to be addressed, they will refer the family to a mental health professional, such as a counselor or a therapist. From there, the therapist will do an in-depth assessment with the family and start treatment for the concerns that they've identified.
And let's talk more about those concerns, but also warning signs that we could pick up on home with a tween or a teen who's going through some type of mental health crisis.
So the parents are the best observers of their child's behavior. If they notice that their child is losing interest in activities, then they will, they should really reach out for help and seek an organization or talk to their pediatrician about those concerns.
And when you say get help, what type of organizations are you suggesting?
So they can reach out to a community mental health organization such as Lutheran Family Children's Services, and we're really here to help support and help the child and family navigate those concerns that they might be having.
Very interesting changes. Again, you can get more information by visiting lfcsmo.org. My Mom Club is sponsored by Premier U. Give their South County location a call today at 636-492-5433. Or for those of you on the Illinois side, call 618-750-5433 for their Swansea location. You can also find them on the web at premierumed.com.